Okay, so if you've ever looked at classic Tamiya buggies from the 80s, you know, the 2WD
Yeah,
ones,
the really iconic
you
ones.
might have spotted something a bit odd, like on the Subaru Brat or the Frog, maybe.
Hmm.
The front wheels seem, well, way wider apart than the back ones.
Right. It's a really noticeable stance on those ORV chassis cars.
And you might think, was that a mistake or just some weird 80s style thing?
But no, it wasn't either of those things.
Yeah.
It was actually really clever engineering, a deliberate choice.
So that's our mission today. Figure out why Tamiya did that, what problems were they trying to solve, and, you know, how did the mods people do now kind of change what Tamiya originally intended?
It's fascinating because you have to remember, this was the early 80s, the golden age of RC, maybe.
Right.
And Tamiya's engineers, they were working with, let's say, specific limitations. They needed something simple, tough, but also fun to drive. They didn't have all the suspension tech and materials we have now.
Okay, so thinking about those limits, what was the main setup for those 2WD buggies back then? And what kind of handling problems did that create? I'm picturing those motors hanging way out back.
You got it. That rear-mounted motor, it was simple, yeah, and gave good traction going straight.
Mm-hmm.
But the big downside was a massive rear weight bias. Think of it like a pendulum hanging off the back. It made them super unstable.
Okay, so prone to spinning out, like a snap oversteer.
Exactly. Snap oversteer was a huge issue. You turn or maybe brake while turning, and whoosh, the back end just comes around violently. Really tricky to control. And that's why Tamiya came up with the wider front track, especially on that ORV chassis. It was their systemic fix.
Okay.
So for the Brat, like you mentioned, the front track width was 197 millimeters. The rear, only 178.
Wow, that's a big difference. 19 millimeters?
Yeah, nearly 2 centimeters. It wasn't subtle. It was a core part of the design.
So what does that wider stance actually do? For a buggy that's kind of top-heavy and has all that weight in the back, does it resist rolling over?
Precisely. A wider front track increases the roll resistance quite a bit. Makes it physically harder for the buggy to just, tip over when you crank the wheel. Gave it much-needed stability.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it wasn't just about not flipping. Tamiya used that stability to deliberately create something called induced understeer.
Induced understeer, how'd they do that?
Well, they paired that wide front track with very specific tires.
Yeah.
You had narrow rib tires up front.
Right, not much side grip there.
Exactly. Limited lateral grip. But in the back, wide, aggressive tires. Lots of grip.
Ah, so you create an imbalance.
A deliberate grip imbalance, yes.
Yeah.
The idea was the front end, with its limited grip, would start to slide gently before the grippy rear end let go.
So it pushes wide instead of spinning out.
Correct. You get predictable understeer, which for someone new to RC is way, way safer and easier to handle than sudden snap oversteer.
Okay, so it's a feature, not a bug, even if it maybe felt a bit, I don't know, vague sometimes.
Right? There were compromises. You got a bit more scrub radius, maybe some bump steer technical terms for small effects on steering feel. But Tamiya clearly decided those were totally worth it for the massive gain in stability and predictability.
But here's the interesting thing, right? Not all the old Tamiyas were like that.
No, absolutely not.
Like the Grasshopper or the Hornet, different chassis, different approach.
Completely. On those, the front was actually narrower than the rear. Take the Hornet. Front track is 172 millimeters. Rear is 185.
So 13 millimeters narrower at the front, the opposite.
Exactly. Shows Tamiya used different tools for different cars, and then later with the Grasshopper II, they went to what we call a square setup, 186 millimeters front and rear, equal width.
So fast forward to today. People love modifying these vintage buggies. You hear about the Brat attack,
Putting those wide Brat rear tires on the front axle.
or using modern one-piece wheels like the Hornet ones that let you fit much grippier modern tires.
Those 26 millimeter wide wheels open up a whole new world of tire compounds.
So what does doing that, like the Brat attack, actually do to the original handling idea?
Well, it fundamentally changes it. It doesn't enhance the original design's advantage. It pretty much gets rid of it.
How so?
Remember, the original point was stabilizing understeer caused by a lack of front grip compared to the rear.
Right, the grip deficit.
These mods, they massively increase the front end grip. They eliminate that deficit entirely.
So you lose the understeer.
You lose the designed and predictable understeer, yes. What you gain is potentially much higher cornering speed and agility because the front bites harder.
So it's a trade-off. You swap forgiveness for outright performance.
Exactly. It shifts the handling balance towards something maybe a more experienced driver would prefer, sharper turn end, more responsive. but you lose that safety net Tamiya built in.
It's totally different from modern buggies, I guess.
Oh, completely. Modern RCs have such sophisticated suspension geometry, shocks, diffs. Track width is just one tuning parameter among many. It's not usually the primary fix for a fundamental stability issue like it was back then.
It really is brilliant, though, how Tamiya took a simple thing like track width and made it the core of a whole handling philosophy, working around the limitations they had. Real ingenuity.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How often do we see things, maybe in everyday objects or older tech, that look a bit weird or peculiar,
Yeah.
and maybe we dismiss them. But perhaps they're actually really smart systemic solutions to problems, even if they came with certain trade-offs that seem odd today.
That's a fantastic point. Maybe keep an eye out for that kind of hidden engineering brilliance. You might be surprised what solutions are hiding in plain sight, born out of necessity.